Hi guys, welcome to the Taekwondo podcast. We're your hosts, Alfred Jong.
I'm Kevin Mejia.
And before we begin, we'd like to give a little introduction of ourselves to tell you who we are and what this podcast is for you.
So my name again is Kevin Mejia. I am a former Taekwondo athlete. I started Taekwondo in '95, so it's been some time. After doing Taekwondo, I kind of got into the competitive side of things. I fought nationally, internationally. I was in the junior national team at one point. Had consistent medals at a national level, and did the international thing, did opens and all that. Never really made it, as a known international athlete. After my competing was done, I was a graduate of a personal training program, a 2-year diploma. And in that, I learned there was a lot of holes that we had in our training to really excel us as athletes and to prevent injuries, especially for myself. And with this podcast, what we're really trying to do is try to open everyone's eyes to the opportunity of other sorts or other varieties of training to help them excel their performance and prevent some injuries. And Alfred, give us an intro about yourself.
So I was actually Kevin's teammate. I actually started from a different school, but eventually we ended up training at the same school. We became training partners, and like Kevin, I competed at a national and international level. Once I retired from Taekwondo due to injuries and old age, I'm much older than he is. I started competing in the sport of powerlifting, where I also competed at a national and international level. And as time went on, I graduated from university, obtained my degree in kinesiology and minor in nutrition. Also obtained my CSCS, so my certified strength conditioning specialist. I pursued my career as a strength conditioning coach for a company called The Strength Guys. So this guy right here. And really started working with powerlifting athletes, bodybuilding athletes, and then started venturing off to a variety of athletes like sprinters, rugby players, and it got me thinking. Taekwondo has always been a passion of mine, but what I knew in these sports, I wish I knew in Taekwondo. I wish somebody had taught me this in Taekwondo. I wish there was somebody to show us that there were more efficient ways to train, to diet, injury prevention, and all that. So Kevin and I, we reconnected again. We sat down and really put our brains together and thought of what can we do to bring on the most concurrent information, the most beneficial information for our athletes, our coaches today, or even martial arts enthusiasts, to help them excel in their training and their knowledge in the sport of Taekwondo, or just strength conditioning, nutrition, and martial arts as a whole. And that's kind of the premise of this podcast. And anything that you want to add to it?
No, just well, I guess the question I have for you is you talk about there's things that you wish you had. What's the number one thing you wish you knew now that you did as an athlete in the past?
Two main things really stood out to me is one is nutrition. Back in the day, the nutrition was the information to nutrition was very, very limited, or is very pseudoscience. We were given a lot of false information. One that really stood out to me was that we should be consuming pig fat instead of beef fat because of how it coagulates over time, which makes no sense at all. But at the time, as athletes, our coaches said do this, so we did it. Our nutrition was very not on point. I think when it came to competition time, I ate mainly lettuce and that's it. Nothing to do with macros, micros, or any of that sort. Hydration, we didn't know any of that. So that was definitely one key thing. And another is periodization for training. What I know now is that you can get away with much more high quality training in a fraction of the time. We used to spend 4, 5, sometimes more hours training, when we probably could have got more work done in maybe 2 hours or maybe even less. And I think that would have prevented a lot of injuries that you and I both have sustained over the years.
Yeah, for sure.
And fast forward, I'm 34 now, believe it or not, and the injuries still haunt me till this day. when fall hits, I get arthritis in numerous areas, and I shouldn't be getting arthritis at this age, but I do. It sucks. It is what it is, and hopefully none of you guys have to experience that. So what about yourself? What do you wish you knew back then that you know now?
Well, I don't know it now, but I wish I knew how to grow. I'm like 5'4" on a good day.
We know how to shrink. We don't know how to grow tall.
5'4" on a good day with really short limbs. So Taekwondo wasn't really the ideal sport for me. But no, for real, I wish I knew a little bit more about injury prevention. Always had such a bad back and lacked what we called flexibility. Had a pretty bad back injury at the age of 18, which shouldn't happen. I tore a ligament in my spine. Not exactly sure which whereabouts. I know it was in my lumbar, but tore a ligament in my spine at the age of 18. The injury still kind of lingered today, and that was probably the biggest setback as far as injuries that I had. And then because of that, I also had really poor mobility. Didn't really move my hips a lot, and wasn't really known to be able to kick up high. After my basic knowledge of after my personal training course, my flexibility, or like kicking high, or mobility, I guess is a better term, improved with absolutely zero static stretching, which is the way that Taekwondo is done now as far as increasing mobility is just static stretching.
Yeah, sit there and do splits for hours and hours on end.
I did none of it, and suddenly my mobility and my flexibility just got a lot better. So it's something I wish I really knew. Now that I'm done Taekwondo, as far as competing as an athlete, I have a lot less back pain just because I know how to manage it. I know how to prevent it, and it's something that my athletes are benefiting from, and I hope it's something we can inspire our audience to at least look into. We know that not all coaches are going to be able to have knowledge like a 4-year diploma or a 4-year degree into anything, but at least if we can inspire the athletes to know that there is better information out there, or even the coaches, that there is better information out there, that they can maybe outsource that to someone that's actually a trained professional in the field.
Mm-hmm. And so what's really motivating us to bring on this podcast, or more so who we want to bring on this podcast, is people that can benefit athletes, coaches, or overall martial arts enthusiasts, or even athletes in general. And some of those individuals include national athletes, professional, international athletes, including Olympians. We want to bring on strength conditioning specialists, sports nutrition specialists, and people that really know the field, and not just experience. While experience is very valuable, we want to know the literature side as well. What does the literature say versus what experience say? Because I truly believe that combining experience and book knowledge is the more optimal approach. It's good to have the book knowledge, it's good to have the experience, but having the two combined together in one cohesive unit is the most efficient way to host the knowledge. And that's ultimately what we want to do.
Yeah, for sure. We started this podcast, actually before that, we've already recorded our first 3 interviews at this point that you're listening to this. And coming into this, I really thought it would just be like a source of entertainment almost for the audience. But I'm really finding it, as a coach, I'm learning a lot. And now looking for our future guests and other people to record with, there's almost a selfish part of me that is trying to find guests that are going to be really good to help me excel as a coach, and I really hope it's going to be the same for the athletes that listen to it, the enthusiasts that listen to it, and the coaches that hopefully are going to listen to us talk.
Another thing is that, as Kevin mentioned, we already interviewed several individuals, very reputable individuals at that, is that as interviews go on, we start noticing trends, and whether those are pros or cons, we are noting down these trends, and we are targeting the next host to address these loopholes, or these areas that are more gray. And even elite athletes, we feel that can benefit from this kind of information because, Taekwondo, it's been around for so long, but the information is still very limited or very outdated. So I think it's going to be very refreshing to bring some up-to-date information with the individuals with up-to-date perspective on, nutrition, training, and everything as a whole.
All right. And so, Alfred, where can the guests find you?
So myself, I'm basically most active on Instagram. So you can find me at Alfred TSG for Instagram, and that's basically it. If you want to check out the Strength Guys, you can also go to @the Strength Guys or our website, thestrengthguys.com. And yourself?
You can find my personal stuff at Kev 4 So 4 Taekwondo is my school. So as you can see on my shirt, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're on the audio, it's too bad. And then you can also find our information or just our podcast information at the TKD podcast or our website at the TKDPodcast.com. Hopefully it's up and updated by the time you listen to this.
And for those that are just listening to the audio aspect, we will have our personal information or our personal contact information in the description of this episode. So if you can't see the visual part, no worries. We're going to have everything in the description. So thank you guys for listening, and we hope you guys enjoy the few upcoming episodes. This is a really exciting venture for us, and we hope to keep this going for as long as possible.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Have a good one. Done.
Not bad. 11 minutes.